قال الإمام الترمذي رحمه الله باب ما جاء في الصلاة خلف الصف وحده. He says, Imam al-Tirmidhi rahimahullah tells us in his amazing work al-Jami' al-Sahih what is mentioned regarding praying, offering salah in jama'ah, and a person praying individually by himself in the last row. Is it permissible? Is it haram? What does the Prophet ﷺ tell us with regards to praying individually, praying by yourself in the last row? There are 4 rows, 5 rows, 6, 7, 8 complete rows, and then you pray by yourself. Something very commonly happens, or happens very common, it occurs often in every masjid. So he says, باب ما جاء في الصلاة خلف الصف وحده. يعني باب ما جاء عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام ثم عن أصحابه وما قاله أهل العلم من الأئمة في ذلك. حدثنا حناد قال حدثنا أبو الأحوص عن حسين عن هلال بن يساف قال أخذ زياد بن أبي الجعد بيدي ونحن بالرقة فقام بي على شيخ يقال له وابسة بن معبد من بني أسد. فقال زياد حدثني هذا الشيخ أن رجلا صلى خلف الصف وحده والشيخ يسمع فأمره رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يعيد الصلاة. قال أبو عيسى وفي الباب عن علي بن شيبان وابن عباس قال أبو عيسى وحديث وابسة حديث حسن وقد كره قوم من أهل العلم أن يصلي الرجل خلف الصف وحده وقالوا يعيد إذا صلى خلف الصف وحده وبه يقول أحمد وإسحاق. وقد قال قوم من أهل العلم يجزئه إذا صلى خلف الصف وحده وهو قول سفيان الثوري وابن المبارك والشافعي. وقد ذهب قوم من أهل الكوفة إلى حديث وابسة بن معبد أيضا قالوا من صلى خلف الصف وحده يعيد من حماد بن أبي سليمان وابن أبي ليلى ووكيع. وروى حديث حسين عن هلال بن يساف غير واحد مثل رواية أبي الأحوص عن زياد بن أبي الجعد عن وابسة بن معبد. وفي حديث حسين ما يدل على أن هلالا قد أدرك وابسته فاختلف أهل الحديث في هذا. فقال بعضهم حديث عمرو بن مرة عن هلال بن يساف عن عمرو بن راشد عن وابسة بن معبد أصح. وقال بعضهم حديث حسين عن هلال بن يساف عن زياد بن أبي الجعد عن وابسة بن معبد أصح. قال أبو عيسى وهذا عندي أصح من حديث عمرو بن مرة لأنه قد روي من غير حديث هلال بن يساف عن زياد بن أبي الجعد عن وابسة بن معبد. He says here, at-Tirmidhi reports that Hannad related to us. And this man Hannad is Hannad ibn as-Sari al-Zahid rahimahullah ta'ala. He reports from Abu al-Ahwas Salam ibn Sulaim from Hussein, from Hilal ibn Yasaf, who said, this man Hilal, the son of Yasaf, he said that Ziyad ibn Abi al-Ja'ad grabbed my hand. One day we were in Raqqa, in Syria, currently Syria, they were in Sham. So this man, Ziyad ibn Abi al-Ja'ad, he grabbed me, he took my hand. And he took me to a very old man, an elderly, a very aged man. And his name was Wabisa ibn Ma'bad. So this old man told me that one day the Messenger of Allah ﷺ saw a man offering the salah by himself, individually, behind the rows, no one else with him. The Messenger of Allah says, make salah again. He told him to pray a second time. The companion, his name is Wabisa, He told the man, we have 3 men that were mentioned here in the story. One is what? Hilal. And the second is Ziyad. Hilal and Ziyad were from the Tabi'een. They were all in Syria, in Sham. So something happened in the masjid. Perhaps he prayed by himself individually, etc. So he grabbed his hand and he said, come here. And he went and he talked to an older brother in the masjid. And this older brother, this older man happened to be from the Sahaba. He was from the Sahaba of the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ. And the Sahabi, this companion, he told this man what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ told a man in the time of the Rasul al-Kareem. Yani where? In Medina. What? In Medina. In what? In Medina. Everyone understand this? So therefore, at-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, he says, there are other hadiths on this topic narrated by Ali ibn Shayban and also Ibn Abbas. At-Tirmidhi says that the hadith of Wabisa is Hasan. So before we go any further, we understand here is that there is a story behind the hadith. And we've explained this in several classes over the years. The concept of the story behind the what? Hadith. Why did the Prophet ﷺ say or do something or allow something? And why did the Sahabi narrate the hadith later on in another place, another time? Or why did the Tabi'i give it from one man to what? To the next. We explained this before. Asbab al-wurud wa tahdith. I don't know how many times we mentioned this, call it. Reasons behind the hadith. Why did the Rasul say it? Or sometimes we say, why did the Sahabi do what? Pass it on. Just like you may tell somebody something. You say, listen, I'll tell you what happened to me one time. I'll tell you what my grandfather said. I'll tell you what happened to me before I was Muslim. I'll tell you what happened to me when I was here. Kello. Everybody understand this? You don't just always tell someone something, but something what? It comes up. And then you mention the what? The reason why. What's the benefit of knowing this? What's the benefit of knowing this? To show you where the source came from. What else? It has to be more. It has to be more based off what we know. And it also has to be more based off what we explain. How many times we mention this, Nafis? So what's the fa'idah then? What is the fa'idah of knowing this? This is a very, very simple answer. We should know.
You should avoid praying with yourself.
Not the specific issue, the concept, the technique. I give you something and you can use it on 100 different issues. Once you've learned the what?
Technique.
You understand this? You can use it on what? Literally 100 hadiths. And apply it to your life, teach others, pass it on. Your wife, your children, masjid, wherever you go. Once you know the proper what?
Technique.
Everybody understand this? What's the fact of knowing this? Fadl.
Contextualizing it?
To do what?
Contextualizing it in specific.
Knowing how to understand it properly. Knowing how to do what? Contextualize it. This is the context. This is when the Rasul said it, or when the Sahabi passed it on, etc. In other words, it helps you to do what? In simpler terms, Nazar. It helps you to do what?
Understand how we
Properly understand the hadith, and to avoid the hadith from being what? Misused. Avoid the hadith being what? Misused. And that hadith is practical and literal. The Prophet said it, but perhaps that was only in Medina. Perhaps that was only with the Prophet. Perhaps. Now this is a companion doing it years after the Rasul in another country, in another situation. Everybody understand this? So you do what? You understand how to contextualize it. That this is the meaning of the hadith. This is the fahm of the hadith. This is the practicality what? Of the hadith. And it's a world of a difference. It's a what? It's a world of a difference between this and between that. Because someone can say, no, that was only the Rasul. Only the Prophet can say that. That was only in the Medina when that was the ruling. It was different. The masjids are larger. The Muslims had conquest, they had battles. Thousands of people accepted Islam. Lands were opened up. It's not the same ruling anymore. The Prophet's Musalla was small in size. Well, how can that? You say, no, it can't be that. Everybody understand that? The companion didn't understand what you understood. And the one who narrated the hadith, the default is that he understands it more than those who came after him. Not all of the time, but that's the what? That's the default. That the Sahabi has more understanding of what he reported than what? Everybody understand this? That's the first fa'idah of this. The second fa'idah is what? What else? What's another benefit of this? There's many, many benefits. We explained this in several lectures. Several times. In this masjid, many masjids. Hold on.
They knew exactly who to take it to.
That's a fa'idah. That's going to come later on. The fa'idah that he took him to the companion. That's going to come later on. It's something else though. We didn't even get into the fiqh of the hadith yet. It's something else. It's another very important benefit. I'll give you one, inshallah, until we get our thinking kufis on. In this science, or this aspect of the science of hadith, it goes to show you that the sunnah was memorized and preserved correctly. And then it's not just a statement that was memorized. The narrator remembered the story, the person's name, the country, we were in Syria, this, that, he grabbed my hand, the man had a gray beard, etc. The more details in the story, it proves that what?
Truthful.
That it really memorized the story. This is what happened. This is, we were here, we were there. Everybody understand this? I'll tell you exactly what happened. It was me, Abu Sharif, Sheikh Yusuf, and Nazir. We were here, the brother came, and this is what he said. That happens all the time in class. Said, no, Mufti, that's not true. I wasn't there. So you were there. You had on a black hoodie and a white kufi after Fajr. And you drank a Dr. Pepper when we ate breakfast. Oh, snaps. Everybody understand this? You're stuck now. I didn't know Mufti was going to remember that. He said, I'm trying to prove to you that I was what? Anyway, and you were there, no doubt. No, I wasn't at that class. Yes, you were. And the proof that you were at that class was what? The what? The details. Everybody understand this? If I say you were there, it's possibility, it's probable. No, maybe you're making a mistake. But the Dr. Pepper, the color of your shirt, your hoodie, your kufi, your socks, this and that, what you ate, the argument that we had, the joke that was made, it proves that what? You understand, little dude? And it's an amazing fa'idah. It's a big fa'idah. Understand that the sunnah was what? It was passed down, it was preserved, it was kept safe. Khair, inshallah. Another reason is what? What's another fa'idah that we get from this? You mentioned something similar to Abdul Wadud. Is the concept of what? Is the concept of you should understand that what you read, what you memorize, what you get is not just to be theoretical. It's not something that's just based off of theory, but it's something that should be an issue of wanting to pass down and teach and educate the people. And when you see something that's incorrect or that's correct, you should take it back to the what? The Sunnah to Nabi Islam. There's nothing wrong that he took him to the Sahabi. Everybody clear on this? Khair, inshallah. So therefore, the man, he offered the salah, and when he offered the salah, there was no one with him. Did he have an excuse? Was there not? Al-Muhim, the Prophet told him to do what? Make salah what? Again. To pray again. So this part of the hadith, before we go any further, what does it prove? What does this hadith prove so far? Hypothetically prove.
It proves that you can pray by yourself. Then you.
It proves what? That is what?
You can pray by yourself in the last line. It's like you actually don't pray.
What does that prove? Technically, what is the fiqh ruling?
Salat is invalid.
It proves the impermissibility of praying by yourself in the congregation. It proves the impermissibility of offering the prayer individually. What?
In congregation.
In congregation. It proves the impermissibility that it is haram. Then it also proves that a person should do what?
Pray in congregation.
He should pray again. You should make up the salah based off of this what? Of this hadith. But regardless of praying again, making the salah a second time or a third time, the general concept that we want to deal with here briefly is that a person should not what? Pray? Pray what?
By himself in congregation.
Individually. He should not pray behind the row, what? Individually, based off of this hadith. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? And this hadith, it also goes to show the virtue of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Whereas he knew who to take him to, he knew how to solve the issue, the problem. He took him to a person of what? Of knowledge. And also it was to show the simplicity of the Sahaba. Whereas he didn't give him a big lecture and reprimand him and this and that. He didn't say any of those things. He says that Rasulullah sallallahu told what? That's it. That's all he said. This is what the Rasul said. This is what happened. You take it or you leave it. That's it. Everybody understand this? It's not like us today. Everybody clear on this? The simplicity of enjoying the good and forbidding the evil. You don't always have to say, ittaqillah, this and that. The sunnah is this. That's the sunnah. Class. If they accept it, if not, fight. Have a nice day. That's it. Don't badger the people. Everybody understand this? Don't what? Don't badger the people. That's not the way of the Rasul sallallahu to badger the people. That's not the way of the Sahaba. Educate the people, teach the people, become angry for Allah. And if they take it, alhamdulillah, and if not, you've done your job. Khair, inshallah. So therefore, he said he commanded him to lead, to make the salah a second time. At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah then says, as far as the madhabs of Ahlul Ilm, because the book of Imam at-Tirmidhi rahimahullah is much more than just the book of Hadith. As you can clearly see, he also gives you the madhab, the different schools of understanding among the people of knowledge. He says there's some of the people of knowledge who hold the view that a man should not pray behind himself, or he should not pray by himself behind the rope, and if he does so, he must make the salah again. And this was the view of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, and also the view of Imam Ishaq ibn Rahawayh. Ishaq ibn Rahawayh. We know who this man is? The friend of Imam Ahmad, from the great ulama of hadith and of fiqh and of aqidah of the 3rd century. Imam Ishaq ibn Rahawayh. You ever read about him? Mukhtar Ishaq ibn Rahawayh. You ever read on his life? Zaid. That's bad. Jiddan. Extremely bad. But we never read about Imam Ishaq. Everybody understand this? He's from the teachers of Bukhari. And he was from the people who inspired Imam al-Bukhari to write his book. He was one of the people who did what? So in other words, when you pick up Sahih Bukhari, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah's virtue, one of the main people that's responsible for you getting this book is Ishaq ibn Rahawayh. So we don't know who he is. How can we say rahimahullah, radiyallahu anhu, jazahullahu khairan, Allah reward him well, Allah put him in Jannah. He's responsible for how much good in our daily lives. What would be without Sahih Bukhari today? So he was the one who told Imam al-Bukhari, after he saw that he was a young, promising youth, he says, why don't you put together a book on authentic reports? Why don't you write a book? And he was his teacher. And that's when Imam al-Bukhari said, something fell into my heart, and I began what? Putting it together, right in Jami Sahih. Ishaq ibn Ibrahim ibn Rahawayh al-Hamdali, rahimahullah ta'ala. These two imams, they held the view that a person should not pray individually behind the row, and if he does so, then he has to do what? Pray again. He then says, other ulama, they say that if he offers the prayer individually behind the row, he will get the reward, he will get the salah is valid. Yujzi'uhu. And this is the view of Sufyan al-Thawri, rahimahullah. And Sufyan al-Thawri came from what country? Imam Ahmad was where? It's very important to have a general background of the geography of Islam. And that way you know what view came from what country, who said what was known. Imam Ahmad was in where? Umar. Where was Imam Ahmad living? In the feast. Where was Imam Ahmad living? Where did Imam Ahmad reside? Anybody know where Imam Ahmad lived? Iraq. Baghdad. Naam. Tayyib. Sufyan al-Thawri lived where? Kufa. Kufa in Iraq. Naam. Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala at-Tirmidhi, he then says, this is also the view of Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak. Abdullah al-Mubarak was from where? Or he lived where? Abdullah al-Mubarak, you know Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak here or no? Tayyib. This is guys we got to read about. You talk about the heroes of Islam. This is the one who said, they said about Abdullah ibn Mubarak, Jumi'at fihi khisal al-khayr. They said he had everything going for him, everything. Knowledge, generosity, he was brave, he was a warrior, scholar, everything. And some of them, they said about this man, the only thing that some of the companions had that he didn't have was that they were companions. That's it. Everybody understand this? This is some of the ulama said about him. Knowledge, this, that, fighting, giving, everything you can think of good, he had. Everybody understand this? And he was from the ulama of the what? Of the late part of the 2nd century. Abdullah ibn Mubarak was from where? La. Yani he was from the lands of Faris, Persia, Khurasan. He then says, and this is also the view of Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. Shafi'i lived and resided where? Anybody know where Imam Shafi'i was born?
Egypt,
La, he wasn't born in Egypt. He lived in Egypt. He traveled there. He was born where? So the Master was born in Gaza, Palestine. Right? He lived and he traveled to where? Egypt, and then where else?
I know he went to Medina.
Where did he reside? Where did he stay for some time? Where did he change his madhab? Khayr, inshallah. Al-Him. This is the second view. The opinion of Sufyan Thawri, the opinion of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, and the opinion of Imam Shafi'i. And the benefit that we take from this part of the book is very important, is that there are not just 4 schools of thought. And there are not just 4 imams in Islam. Rather, there were great ulama of fiqh that lived before and after the 4 imams. And from them is Sufyan Thawri. From them is Abdullah ibn Mubarak. From those great ulama is Ishaq ibn Rahawayh. Everybody understand this? It's a fact that it's giving you now. Because somebody, they'll come and they'll say, well, there's no madhab that says this among the 4 madhabs. Like, Tayyib, no problem. People who came before Imam Ahmed, people who came after Imam Malik, they had a view that's similar or contrast to that view. So you cannot restrict something that's what?
So why?
Everybody understand this? Or make so why something that is restricted. So that's the second view. He then says, and there are also some of the people of knowledge of Kufa who hold the view based off of this hadith as well. And from them is Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman. Anybody know who this man was? Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman. How many people say they're Hanafis today? You know any of the lineage of Imam Abu Hanifa's madhab? Where he took it from? What companions lived in Kufa? If you ask, go to a Hanafi masjid. And this is nothing against brothers that say the Hanafi, but just trying to prove a point like the rest of the things. So where was Imam Abu Hanifa from? How many people would know? What country was he from? What city did he live in? Or the same applies to other brothers. You saw Imam Ahmed all day. Where was Imam Ahmed from? We don't even know where Ahmed's from. This is a problem. Everybody understand this? If you go to the average American, where was George Washington from? The forefathers. Where did he live? They can give you some general information of what? George Washington. He was from such and such. Where did this battle? Gettysburg. Seriously. This great man that you will hold in such high esteem, you're going to know what? Something about him. Everybody understand this? Your favorite sports athlete? What city is he from? Everybody clear on this? So this man, Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman, he's from the ulama of Kufa. It's very important to know about him. Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman. It's also a view of Ibn Abi Layla and Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah. These are all great ulama who lived during that time period. Before, at the same time, or after Imam Abu Hanifa in Kufa. And it's a great deal of, we say, difference of opinion, different understandings between the ulama of Kufa and the ulama of Hijaz and the ulama of other parts of Iraq. And this is where the whole entire concept of the different madhabs comes from. There were more hadith there, that's hadith there. More fiqh opinions here, that's fiqh opinions there. Etc. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this issue? So the Muslim, no matter what level you're on, you should sit down and just read about the different historical locations of Islam. Where's Sham? What happened in Sham? Where's Yemen? What happened in Yemen? When the ulama say that he was from Africa, what do they mean by the concept Africa? Where was Africa? What ulama came from Africa? What ulama came from this part, from that part? Everybody understand this? Where did the companions live? Where did Anas die? Where did Ibn Abbas go? Where did Mas'ud go? Nah, everybody clear on this? What companion established Islam in this country? Who were his students? And that goes to show you how the different what? Schools of recitation, qira'ah, schools of fiqh, schools of hadith, where they came from. Lineage, pedigree. And the same applies today, Khalid. You can't just pop out of the sky. Who was your teacher, Khalid? Who'd you learn from? Who taught you? Who educated you? You can't just pop up, say, pop, I'm a alim, a student of knowledge. Nah, you have to have a what? Isnad. Everybody understand this? This is my teacher, this is his teacher. Who learned from him? Who learned from him? Who learned from? Fulan. Whether you have ijazah, recommendation, etc. It has to be what? Lineage. Everybody clear on this? It has to be a what? A lineage, a pedigree. Everybody know the lineage of the dog. A thoroughbred, as they said. Nah, this is reality. That's why the dog is so expensive. Everybody understand this? And any other concept in life that you want to think of. You're not going to find a man who came and rose to greatness except that they had some type of khayr, inshallah. So therefore, how many opinions did he mention here? 2. Some say that it's haram, and others say that it's what? That it isn't what? Some say it's unlawful, and some say that it's what? No, they didn't say it's permissible. Never said that. They said that the salah is what? Valid. Never said it was permissible. But they said the salah is what? Valid. And others said that the salah is invalid. So this, how many fawaid have we got from reading what? This one hadith of Tirmidhi's book. And these fawaid you cannot get in Sahih Bukhari. You can't get this in Sahih Bukhari. Everybody understand this? These fawaid you cannot get in Sahih Muslim. These fawaid you can't get in Sunan Abi Dawud. These fawaid you can't get in Ibn Majah's book, the book of Nasa'i. You can't get this fawaid in Imam Malik's Muwatta. You can't find these benefits in the Muslim Imam Ahmed. You can only find all of these benefits in one place. Let alone we didn't get into when he criticized the hadith. What criticism was made on the hadith of Wabisa? Is it Sahih, what's meant by Hassan? We didn't even translate all of that. So you get fiqh, hadith, imams, everything all in what? One place. Everybody understand this? And this is why some of the ulama of the past, they said the most beneficial of the 6 books of hadith is what? The Jami at-Tirmidhi. This is why some of them said this. They didn't say the most authentic book, but they said one of them. They said the most beneficial book is the Jami at-Tirmidhi, because it's what? It's a cluster, cluster bomb, as they say, all in what? One place. And this is just one. How many hadiths we read out of the Just one. Not an explanation. That's in the actual book. So Allah's bounty is expansive. Is what? Expansive. So if you read one hadith, Tirmidhi says every day, how much benefit would you get? How much fiqh would you know? How many ulama of hadith, fuqaha would you have? Benefits for what? Would you know about hadith science? We ask questions about mustalah, mutawatir, fulan, da'if, fulan. It's the source. And Imam at-Tirmidhi, rahimahullah, his pedigree, his lineage is what? He's not far. His teacher was who? From his teachers was Al-Bukhari. His teachers was what? Al-Bukhari. And many other teachers as well. But from the most prominent of his teachers was Imam Al-Bukhari. From the greatest students of Imam Bukhari was Tirmidhi. As we said in the book review the other day, his disciple was Tirmidhi. So you're getting the knowledge of Bukhari and what? Much more. But in a different style. He did what? And in what? A different style. And in many parts in the Tirmidhi, in the Jami at-Tirmidhi, in which Imam at-Tirmidhi actually asks Imam al-Bukhari questions about hadith. And some of those statements you can only find in his book. Tirmidhi's book is a gem, it's a jewel. Wallahu a'lam. Your brothers have any questions now, or do you want to wait till I go back there?